I always say the same thing, right? So maybe both of you have heard me repeat this for the 100th time already. I will always tell younger aspiring leaders to say, don't start big, right? You can dream big, but don't start big.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Work Inspires podcast, the people's podcast for career and business and life. So you know me, my name is Asfa, you have Mallory here, and we have the amazing person right here, which is Jan Wong. Welcome, Jan Wong.
Hello.
So just a quick introduction by Jan before we jump right into it. So Jan Wong is a good friend. And again, thank you for being here. But he's an entrepreneur, youth advocate, and the founder of Open Minds, which is a data-driven Martech company based in KL, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And fun fact, they're celebrating their 9th-year anniversary this year. So congratulations.
Yay, 9 years of roller coaster, yes.
Yes, 9 years of a lot of drama that we want to talk about later as well. So, starting at the age of 17, he has ventured into 8 businesses. He is also a regional keynote speaker, a TEDx speaker, and he's also listed on the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia for 2017. So before we get into all the conversations about digital and business and whatnot, we're just going to start with a very casual, fun energizer, which is a few questions just to get to know you better, okay? Let's start with, what is your daily fix? Coffee or tea?
Tea.
See?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
a tea person.
I told you, I'm
I
a
thought
coffee
you were
person.
a coffee. Oh my god. Okay, tea or water? You know.
Wow.
Ah.
Tea, okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, on the side note, right, as a boss, right, would you rather retain a high performing individual, like he's like a superstar salesperson in your company, but with a bad attitude, or maybe cukup makan average kind of person, but with a
makan
good learning?
average person.
Yeah, same thing. All right. And with this whole pandemic, last one for this, before Aspa has a very special question for you, okay? Would you rather work from home or work from office?
Work from home. For me, work from home.
Did it change that at the beginning? When the pandemic happened, is it all the way work from home?
Actually, it did not change much for us, because ever since we started back in 2012, we were already working from home. From the very beginning, we have a company policy that out of 5 working days, 3 are in-office days, 2 are out-of-office days. And to practice that, we literally locked the office. So even if you end up in office, you cannot enter. We didn't care. Seriously, we didn't care what your reason is, right? Unless you tell me, okay, like your home internet cannot jalan, or you have a very important call, you need a quiet space, at home not conducive, okay, fair enough. But if not, in normal circumstances, the office won't even be open to you. So on the 2 days, you either work from home, you work from a cafe, you work from anywhere. So through the years, we kind of not only grew accustomed to it, but we also built enough structures and check and balance in place so that we know that at home you're still performing, you're still addressing whatever that needs to be done.
Nice. This is what you call plan ahead, right, Mal? This is already
This is like 10 years ahead.
future planning already,
We didn't know, right? I mean, we didn't plan for the pandemic to happen. But yeah, it turned out for good, actually.
Nice. That's a really.
I cannot. I'm dying to get back to office.
Exactly. Even like for me, it's like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think there's a small difference. I mean, if you talk about just purely working, I'm okay from home, but I don't want to be confined to my home, if that makes sense. Right. So let's say if we to go out and meet, I don't want to have more Zoom calls or whatnot. Let's go out to a cafe, sit down, catch up and meet, And if there's an event, enough of webinars and all that, let's have a physical event that can go shake real hands or fist bump or whatever. But if you talk about just purely work alone, I think working from home has its advantages in that sense.
Yeah, true. Very true. I think that part I agree with you. Okay,
Talking about advantage, right, Jen? Let's say you're talking about before this when you can be physical and everything like that. Right? Remember Mel has one question that I want to ask. So this is my question for you. Before pandemic, right? When we get to meet and all the meetings in the cafe, all those kind of things, right?
Mm.
Would you rather hold your bladder during meetings or excuse yourself and go to the toilet?
I think I fall into the category of hold my bladder in the meeting. In fact, the record is holding it for 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Yes. So
I
this was, I
cannot.
think, in our third year in existence, right? I remember that we were having, at that time, our biggest client. So me and my business partners, right? 3 of us were in the meeting. It's a long business transformation meeting. So there's a lot of discussion. All the top people are there, and well, nobody else seemed like they needed to go, but I know I really needed to go, and like, why is there no break? This is going on for too long, and I held it for like 3 hours, and let's just say that I had difficulty standing up after that even.
Well, I'm the opposite, Legend. I'm the opposite. I have to excuse myself no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But over the years, I learned it's okay to excuse yourself. I think back then it was just, wow, I need to stay
I
here.
pity your bladder lah.
Yes.
No, but Aspa has a talent. If he has to go, he has to go.
I have to go, yes.
Like he has no
Okay.
choice. Okay,
Hmm.
so you don't, even if mid training he's talking halfway, if he has to go, I'm going to pass the stage now to Mallory, and
Then after that, Valerie
Really? Wow, okay.
so you just stand by. We
Yes,
haven't
thank-
tried a live panel session, so I don't know whether I've reached a point where that level yet, but we'll see.
let's see. But thanks for sharing, Jen. That is a record I have not heard yet. Okay, holding a bladder for three hours.
Don't try. Whoever's
Yes,
listening,
yes.
not worth trying, yes.
All right, Jan Wong, let's go back to the serious part. Or no, not serious. This question is a really fun, but I want to celebrate. Okay, I want to celebrate and congratulate you. 9 years in Open Minds. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
I tell you, that's crazy. It's crazy. So I want to ask this question, right, Jan Wong? In terms of feeling, how do you feel passing that 9-year mark? And of course, what are you grateful for in this whole journey?
First and foremost, thank you. 9 years is really, oh my goodness, 9 years. 9 years is like, wow, I don't know why. So many things you can achieve within 9 years, right? I think if you ask me how I and my partners feel, right? I think the first feeling is definitely a certain sense of pride and joy, because being within the startup scene and, participating in all these different mentorship sessions and all that, we know that it's not easy building a startup and sustaining it over 9 years. What more, we have been bootstrapping from the very beginning. So having survived these so many years and being profitable is definitely something we actually look each other in the eye and say, hey, actually, not bad, almost a decade, we are still here, we are surviving, we are still doing okay. That's great. But I think beneath all this, definitely there's a huge sense of gratefulness for all the people that have came before, the people that we have, but also a very large sense of relief. Like, whew, after all the challenges that we have faced in between in the past 2 years, plus the many years before this, all the people that didn't believe in us and the naysayers and people that tried to sabo us, and we still are able to come out of there and now celebrate our 9-year going to 10. It's a huge sense of relief. I think through that relief is also a sense of looks like we didn't do too bad after all. Because in the early days, to be very honest, right, even this work from home thing that I just shared, and a lot of things that we try to do with the team, to be honest, sometimes we really don't know what we're doing. Right? We were just testing it out to see whether it works for us. So there's a lot of validation, and sometimes we don't know whether it's right or wrong. In the early days, I remember when we had this in-office, out-office days thing, we were so worried that our clients one day just show up in our office, and we were closed. And then they get panicked. Yeah, because we don't know, right? Or of course, we have the general worry of what if the team members are basically just sleeping all day and not to be contacted. And so all these thoughts. But so we went through it. Of course, there are some good decisions, some not so good decisions. But overall, we look back and relieved that actually there's quite a number of good decisions made after all.
Crazy.
I have something to ask about that though. When I first started as well, people at the time, Valerie, make sure you start with the end in mind. I think you heard this statement. Whenever you start a business, start with something with the end in mind, right? And to be honest, it's very hard to identify that end. Because it's like we don't know how the world is gonna be, how things are. So did you actually, honestly, do you actually expect that you are gonna last that long? Is one thing. And also secondly, is do you really have an end in mind?
That is a very good question, right? Because like you said, many people say you need to start with a very clear vision, very clear goal, and that end in mind thing. I would say that we did have an end in mind. We do have an end in mind, but that end does not define the process and the journey and how we get there. So we knew that when we came together, the four of us, we were very clear that we didn't just want this to be like a digital marketing agency, or we just didn't want it to be a client servicing kind of a company and that's it. From the very beginning, we knew that through this business, we want to spawn other businesses, subsidiaries, and together we want to create an ecosystem where people can come and basically benefit from the workplace, do what they enjoy, and so thrive within the workplace. That is what we ultimately wanted to build. So this means our end in mind is actually not the business model. It's actually not the services that we form, but the environment that we want to create. And that has always been what we are trying to do. So certain years we tried accelerating that journey and we failed miserably. Some years we get people coming and tell us, Jen, you're crazy. Why do you spend so much time, effort doing these things? But that is the one main thing that gets us excited lah. I don't know whether they are don't have clients watching this or listening to this, but over the years we've pivoted many times. But ultimately we find that the biggest value that we can create is actually through people, and that's why Open Minds is named Open Minds also. That's a company.
Open mind. Literally keep an open mind. Is that
Yes,
the
that's
right? Such creativity, huh? All right. I like how you all call yourself data-driven Martech. And since you started venture into 8 business your whole life, right? I want to ask, why did you ended up here? How do you ended up here? And why this data-driven Martech thing? I'm pretty sure if you were 17, I'm not sure if you wake up and go, okay, I want to start this.
Nah, not at all, right? Back then, what Martech, what data-driven? I need help with data-driven. No, not at all. But I think this entire journey, even when I was 17, starting all the way towards Open Minds, that part has it's all in different industries, right? So my first company was basically a hardware company. I bought hardware cheap, sold it for more expensive. I basically help people fix their Unify and not Unify. Back then, it's Streamix. Okay, I go to the house, put the modem, help them call, set up, pull the cables. And then I started a fashion-based company. I had an event-based company. I had all these different companies. But through the process, I found there is a glaring problem, and I actually enjoy solving and tinkering around this problem to try and create a solution. And this particular problem, right, is actually marketing and technology. I am technologically trained, right? So I did a degree in web development. So I write codes. I had no idea of business. That's why my first business was actually in IT. So when I went into it, and as a pure IT geek, nerd, whatever you want to call them, right? I had zero experience. I had zero experience with business. In fact, I ran my first company for 6 months without knowing that I need to register a company. Like I literally do not know. There's this SSM thing, right? What is SSM? Like, what is Sanjan Berhad partnership? Teacher never teach in school, You tell me HTML, PHP, ASP, I understand. SSM, apa tu? I really do not know. And after starting the company and I had people working for me, I didn't know we need to pay EPF. What is EPS? Why do I need to pay additional how many percent on top of what? That's not what I agreed to, I literally don't know. And there's a whole, so it's totally new, okay? I really didn't know what I was doing. But through it all, I also found that, hey, marketing is an important part of the business. Like as the founder, I needed to position ourselves, I needed to sell our services, I needed to let people to be more aware of our capabilities. So I started learning this marketing part myself. Then, of course, as I progressed on to other companies, I started doing more and more marketing, so-called picking up new skills, exploring different technologies. And through it, right, I found myself always also asking the question of, hey, how can I use tech to kind of simplify certain things? How can I automate certain processes? How can I make communication between me and the clients better? So I started using tech to build my own solutions without subscribing. And then the turning point came to the startup idea right before Open Minds, which was also called Open Minds, actually. Yeah, so I just link it over because that was kind of like a failed project, right? But I had this idea. And of course, I created a pitch deck and whatever, and I like everything. So I started marketing. I started trying to get clients to come on board. And the clients were not very interested with what I have to sell. However, they like how I arrived at the solution and started asking me, can you actually do something like that for us? And this happened 3 times in a row, right? So
like 3 different clients.
3 different clients. But all 3 of them were asking a very similar type of request. So of course, the first one I say, nah, come on lah, this is my business. No. Second one, no. Third one, then something is wrong or something is right, like, like there's something here. Then the entire business model changed, and then I thought to myself, look, if the only way to know this would work is to get a paying client, right? The client can say they're interested in whatever, but as long as they don't pay, everything is fake, right? So, and that is exactly what I did. So, okay, fine. I changed the pitch and went on with this so-called Martech solution angle, and I closed the deal. And that became the start of today's Open Minds. Right, so that is why the name carried forward from that failed project. But through that, we found what Open Minds truly can solve within the market, and that became our unique selling proposition for, well, the past 9 years.
I think that's the interesting part, right? Like you gotta, that's the thing about business. What I love about business is that there's no fixed rule. Even though there's business model, there is 101 books you can read, but there's no fixed rule that this is the only way to get there. Which is what makes it interesting and fun. Anyways, that's what I see as well. Okay, I have a side question though. Very curious. You started this pretty young, and you still look very young. I don't know. I think it's just you looking younger. But
I think it's the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair. I'm pretty sure it's the hair. Okay, we will take a picture and post this up for you all to see the hair. All right. but I just want to know, like, you're going into like somewhat like a consultation. You're going into problem solving. Did anybody ever question like, you're too young for this?
Oh, plenty. The early days especially, plenty of this. I mean, it is not just within the consultancy business, but all the businesses before. This was actually one of my, if back then you ask me what's my biggest weakness, I will probably tell you that of how I look. Because it's really challenging, it's to the extent, right, where through emails, through phone calls, everything sounds great, but it fails the moment I meet the client.
Yeah.
Ironically, right?
Yeah, because somehow, I don't know, I don't look convincing, I don't look like I can hold my own fort, somehow they will ask for my father, that they insist they spoke to my father over the phone, but I'm Jen, my father's not Jen, and there's a lot of this struggle. And even in the early days when we, of course, after the first client, that was a good one. But subsequently, right, I find myself needing to justify my age. I remember this is a legit pitch, in the pitch deck, right? I actually have a statement to say why being young in this industry is good. It's actually a USP, Imagine going out to say, yes, I'm young, but that you need young because technically you're old, you don't understand your tech anymore, but you need somebody like me to tell you how. It becomes a pitch. And well, that actually worked, right? So that's why we are still here, being able to talk in this 9th year.
Well, we should have talked to Jan Wong about this.
Oh my God. I have to like sound old, act old, macam grandmother, look like grandmother for the sake
but to
of
be
getting
fair,
something.
I also have to purposely dress up a little bit older.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, but it shows that over the years, I don't need to dress like that. So maybe I'm really appearing older already. But back then, right, I literally had to like buy like black leather shoes, wear long sleeve button shirt, that kind of thing, comb the hair a certain way just to add that few age, but still go up and insist that we are young and we can help you just in case, And that actually stayed with us for at least the first 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I think after you see the work, but you do look young.
Yeah.
You do look young, so.
So just to share, Jan Wong, even like for me also, when I was inside my first corporate business, the first thing the boss said, Asfa, can you grow facial hair a bit to look older? I was like, wait, what?
At least you're guys, they can say that to you. You know what they told me? Can you add wrinkle a bit using the makeup to look older?
Really?
That's what they said to me.
What?
Like,
Wow.
I was like, should I powder my hair while I edit?
Next level.
Wow. Yeah, man, somehow. But I also have to say that I think in the recent years, the demand for age also has dropped. I think the acceptance for younger business owners or business leaders are generally more well accepted compared to, I think, 10, 15 years ago when we first started, right? I think the demand is very different.
10, 15 years ago, entrepreneurship is like for jobless people.
Correct.
Nobody want to hire you, you be your own boss. Okay.
Exactly.
It's a big change.
That's wrong. You're talking about young leaders, young entrepreneurs, right? So in some work inspires, we like to give some practical, I would say, hacks or tools for our viewers to actually apply, right? So what's your advice for your case? You started off young until to this very day, and an amazing portfolio and everything like that. So what's your advice, or what is the practical steps for them to start building or growing the digital net worth? Later we're going to talk a bit about your book, but yes.
I always say the same thing, right? So maybe both of you have heard me repeat this for the 100th time already. I will always tell younger aspiring leaders to say, don't start big, right? You can dream big, but don't start big. And I think why I say that, right, is because a lot of people, when they dream big, they automatically think that their first step is to start from there. And this is very common in a lot of tech-based startups, especially, right? They will come out and say, I want to be the next TikTok.
Yes.
And then they try to pitch an app that so-called is much better, quote unquote, compared to TikTok. Or back then, very popular, I want to build the next Facebook. I want to be like LinkedIn, but better. I want to be like Zoom, but even better. Like, okay, you know how old is Zoom? How old is Facebook? You know how many manpower they have behind the scenes? You're one person, how many? 2 person. You know, what? It isn't match up, right? Yeah, correct. And then, I want to be able to buy that house, buy that car, that lifestyle dream. But right now, have you made your first dollar? Nope. Have you have a website? Nope. Do you have a product? Nope. Do you have a business partner? Nope. Then, right? So I think it's great to dream big, or some of the people, maybe you have your end in mind already. It's so crystal clear that you can grasp it with your hand, right? But you need to start small. You need to know what is your starting step. Even in building your digital net worth, it's all about, hey, with what I have right now, with that goal in mind, what can I do to get me closer one step at a time? Is it to build my network first? Is it to close that particular first client first? Is it to stabilize a certain amount of cash flow first? Is it to find a business partner that complements the things that I cannot do first? What is it? Right? And then that one thing will lead to another and eventually get you closer to your goal. And not to say, hey, from day one, I won't start the restaurant because basically I cannot get the desired interior design, everything to spec first. Then die lah, your interior design need 1 million, then you don't sell. I think that is the difference as well, right? Between an entrepreneur and so someone that is remain just purely a dreamer. I always believe that entrepreneur, when they see something, they just do it lah, right? If you want to open a restaurant, no money, then you flip burgers by the side of the street. True. If you want to develop an app, you don't have money, then you go do something, raise a bit of capital, go get a white label app to do it first. or build a simple Google form and then start so-called coordinating a business, and then you slowly build. So that is why I always say you can dream big, but always start small.
I think I really like that. I think that's a very good reality. Actually, just by us saying that sound a bit more, but I feel like it's something that a parent would say. Don't jump too far. Take one step first.
I think we got that from our parents or the elder generation. So we
No,
passed
I
down.
get what they mean. Like suddenly it hits me like, oh yeah, that's what they meant.
I think you need to bang enough walls also to realize that actually that's true.
That's true.
Very true. Okay, I mean, age comes wisdom, they say, right? So speaking of which, right, congratulations as well on your book, Building a Digital Networth. And so I read the book, actually read the book.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, what I really like about it for me is that I'm a very short attention span person. So I don't like to hug like one chapter, 20 pages, 30 pages kind of thing. So I like it bite size, and you made it very bite size. So this is what I really like about it. So for those of you who have not got a copy, please go get a copy and read it. Okay, you can ask Jen how to get it as well. But I want to talk about something that the first impression. Talking about first impression, when I say that this digital network thing, and even when we talk to students or corporates or companies, anyone for that matter, it sounds very, very scary. Like how do you gauge digital network? How do you measure? Is it necessary? I still have students asking me, is it necessary to have a LinkedIn account? I have companies asking, is website still relevant or is that old school? So it's like a very there are a lot of scary things about it and a lot of myth about it. So what do you think are some of the common misconceptions that people have about digital network?
I think you rightly said some of the misconceptions already, right? Where people think that it's number one, something that's irrelevant or outdated. Some people think that is not necessary because there are other means to do it. And some people just don't know about it. To them, it's like, hey, there is really no purpose for me to do this. I live the way I like, YOLO. I do what I want, right? For accounts and all of that. But the fact of the matter is, usually when I'm asked of this kind of questions, I will always just ask them one question, which is this. Imagine I don't know you. I have never met you before. I've never spoken to you. I've never seen you anywhere. But today, I'm a potential investor. I'm a potential employer. I'm a potential business partner. I'm a potential somebody in need of someone like you. Like I want to find you for your skills, for your experience, for your portfolio. How?
Powerful.
The thing about it is that we know how to answer this question if we are traveling to Penang and we want to find the best char kway teow, right? Because we go to Google Maps, we will go to different forums, we will go to Google, we will search different things and search where is the top 10. And then we read reviews and we define that. Now, but if I'm finding a person, don't you think I will employ the same method? I'll go and find who is the online strategist in Malaysia. I want to find who is this person that is able to solve this problem. Where would I go to? I will go to the different digital channels to discover. And if you are not there, you don't exist.
You don't exist.
You can be the best in your field. You are a valedictorian, you have a CGPA 4, you are the perfect fit in my growing company. But I don't know you.
Nice.
Painful.
That
powerful.
is the difference in building a network.
I think well, we need to rethink again on.
I'm quite happy with my LinkedIn. Somebody else's LinkedIn here, however.
Okay, fine. I need to rethink my positioning. But it's a really powerful statement. Is the how, right? Like how do you get yourself noticed? Where? And then of course it's very important also. Like yes, you can be the best in your field, but if nobody knows you, then you're just a nobody. Right?
Exactly.
And that is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think, okay, I have a follow-up question about that though. So if let's say I'm someone starting out and like, for example, okay, let's talk about students first. So for students, like, okay, everybody know now, every university advocates it, like, okay, go on LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
What's the first thing I should do? Besides setting up profile picture, besides that things, but like, what's the first thing I should take note of that probably some things that people don't cover?
Yeah, so obviously the basic stuff, your profile, make sure everything is posted there, right? But the next thing that you do after the basic setup is done is to actually start literally sharing content. Now, when I say sharing content, it doesn't mean that you need to start writing and creating content, but you can be sharing what you have read, what you have watched, what you have seen, and especially if it's related to that field of work or your interest or your passion and what the industry that you're interested in, start posting things like that relevant to your field. And this is not just exclusive to LinkedIn. It could be your own website, your own blog, maybe, right? Or it could be even your Instagram, your Twitter and whatnot. The thing is that people tend to just have this detachment, saying that, hey, my Instagram is personal, my Facebook is personal. If anything professional, go on LinkedIn. Well, Char Kway Teow doesn't differentiate itself between different platforms, right? I mean, if it's good food, it's good food. How can you separate and say, no, this is not, so you don't come in here? There's no such thing. And the thing is that when people discover, you can't block people from discovering as well. Why would you? It's social media for a reason, right? You go on because you want to social, but you keep everything closed. I never understood that, right? So if you are already on social platforms and you're supposed to do the social work, you want people to discover things that is relevant to you. So the question is, what is relevant to you? If you are looking for that dream that you're trying to address, right? That industry, again, that passion, that line of work, that network that you're trying to build in, then you need to ask yourself, what is it required? What would it attract them? What can I do to show them that I'm the right candidate? I'm the right person. Hey, it's me. How can I align my interests with their interests? And those are the things you post. Back then when I first started building so-called my net worth, right? I started this blog, and because I mentioned just now, I was a tech guy, right? So I have a huge passion in tech. Basically, right, I just did some random tech review that nowadays I go and read, right? I get goosebumps and I cringe myself, right? I talk as though I know about the thing, right? Literally, I just go online, I read something that's cool, and then I just take the picture, I go on my blog, I just start writing, no, I think this is cool because this is what the person did, this is what I feel, this is the future of it. Oh, I was wrong, but I just put all this down, right? And these things actually helped me build my portfolio, because even as I started doing this when I was a student, prior to graduation, I received actually 2 major job offers prior to graduate. Companies wanted, they actually said, maybe you should just come and help us, that kind, which was crazy. And they discovered me because of my blog. This guy, a teenager, talking about tech as though he knows everything, but he doesn't, but offered a job. So it's all about aligning interests of what do you want to be discovered as? Who do you want to be discovered as? Why should people discover you? If this is the angle that you're sharing your content, be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook, Instagram, whatever that you're at, that is how you build your net worth.
Okay, I have a question that I get a lot. Do we post based on what you shared up? Because like you said, right? I like the Char Kway Teow concept. It really stuck to me, but which also something that a lot of people ask. Should you post the same content on your Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn? I know it's a very, I don't know, for me, I think no, but I want to hear your thought about it.
The answer is a straight up no. Straight up no, there's no negotiation. Although platforms make it so simple, right? Especially on Facebook, Instagram, there's this button here, post to Facebook. Wow, just that one button, And I love it when people tell me that, Jen, that's automation. That's just lazy work. It's not automation, right? Why I say that is this. Think about it, right? How do we use Facebook versus how do we use Instagram? I don't know about you, but I think a lot of us consume different types of content on Facebook, Instagram. The moment we turn on the platform, right, our expectation of what we want to consume is very different. For example, when I go on Facebook, right, my expectation is I want to see maybe the news. What are my friends up to? When there's an article, I click into it. I want to see what's happening around me, right? And when I see something that maybe has a bit more text or see more, I may click on it to read because that's Facebook. It's supposed to keep me updated. Now, on Instagram, when I turn on, I don't want to see news. I don't want to see what's happening. In fact, these days, I don't even go to my news feed on Instagram. I just want to go in and see stories. I just want to see the people that I follow, what are my friends up to, and then kacau them through the process. Right? So imagine if you're sharing the same content, the things that different content will respond very differently across platform. So you're going to post an article, you may work well on Facebook, it will flop for sure on Instagram. Imagine you got 500-word article on Instagram, nobody would bother to click and read. Likewise, the visuals that we see on Instagram is going to be very different from Facebook as well. Vice versa, even if you take in LinkedIn in the picture, Twitter in the picture, all of them behaves very differently. So never ever duplicate content. The trick here though, is to then pick it up a little bit, have one version, similar images, similar caption maybe, but you tweak it in accordance to the platform. That is the least you can do for yourself, rather than claiming it all under the name of automation. No such thing.
Yeah, copy paste. Okay.
Yeah,
another word for copy automation, copy paste.
Okay, I actually have one more question. And then after that we can wrap things up, right? You're talking about market yourself inside social media. That is who you are and everything like that, right? So on a personal context and also on the marketing side, how do you separate that? Like, let's say for example, certain people inside Instagram, right? They like to talk, they like to share about their own personal life. They say they like to have fun, go out, party, and all those kind of things. But in the professional setting of branding or marketing in your context is different, right? So how do you separate that way? Then?
To answer that question, right, the individual need to ask himself or herself this one question first. Is there a real need to separate? Is there a real need to separate? You see, the thing is that, sure, separate is the easiest answer, right? So you have a public account, you have a private account, sure. But with it also come added responsibilities. So when you have something to post, do you post personal or do you post professional? When you have something to share, which one goes where, right? And why do you want to do that? And when you have different accounts, you have different usernames, and that will just confuse your positioning, because different platforms, you're calling yourself differently. That's one thing to consider. So when I say, do you really need this? Is to really look at your content. Is it really offensive or not? How bad can it be in the professional setting? I mean, everybody is human, right? Weekend, you go cafe hopping, maybe you party a little bit, you drink a little bit. Unless every post is you drunk by the street, right? Or you are exposing yourself to drugs and substances and partying, posting a party photo when you're supposed to be at work, but you say you're on sick leave. Okay, fine, have a private account, right? But I would say for 90%, 95% of us, what we deem as private actually is not very private at all. Unless you have this thing that, oh, I don't want people to see who my family is. I don't want them to see their face. Or I want to protect the privacy of my child because I don't want, people to do some deep fake thing with their faces or whatever, that kind of security concern. Okay lah, fine. But if it's just lifestyle related, so-called individualism and all that kind of stuff, right? In most situations, it's okay.
Yeah. True. I mean, these days, babies' Instagram has more followers than ours.
Exactly. Baby, pets, and whatever else, right? Has more followers than humans.
I always like to say this to people is that if you are not a celebrity, then they don't talk to you before they sleep. It's like it's everything that you share, right? It's not if you see it, you see the content, but they're not going to talk and gossip all around the world. Say, hey, this fellow did this and then all those kind of things, right?
I love that point, right? I love that point because people probably don't even care.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares.
that you're so afraid that your employer see, your manager see, but chances are, right, they're not even seeing.
Exactly.
Me, I'm pretty sure after work, right, they won't go think about that intern in that 17th floor somewhere. What did he or she do? I highly doubt they do that.
Correct. So I think that whole heightened sense of self-consciousness, right, is played a little bit too wide. So unless there is a major security concern, I would say keep it public. There's no need to split it. Let social media be social media. Not private media. That one you do somewhere else.
All right. So we come to an end of our session. So sorry to cut you short also, Jen. I would love to have conversations with you more after this also.
This.
Yes, but the most important thing is we're talking about social media. We're talking about connecting and everything. So my last question for you is this, Jen. How do people connect with you and where?
I have no private profiles and whatnot. They're all open. So if you want on LinkedIn, just go and search Jan Wong. I will be there. If you're going on Instagram, search Jan Wong MY. I'll be there as well. Or since Mallory brought up the book earlier, if you want to check out the book, it's book.janwong.my. That's where you find all the information and you can get connected with me across any of these platforms.
All right. Thank you so much, Emma. Yes, please do get the book. I have not read it yet. I'm not a book person. Book person.
Okay? It's a waste to give him. I'll say that first.
But Mallory is my summary, so you learn as much as you can. Of course, I love to have conversations with you. That's my go-to way to learn. But anyways, again, thank you so much, Jan Wong, for your time. Really, really appreciate it. We learned a lot, and we really hope that our viewers that's watching this learn a thing or two. And of course, the most important thing is applying whatever you have learned, right? Jan Wong shared a lot of nuggets throughout this whole session that you can apply inside your daily life, in whether it's business, whether life or career. So with that, thank you so much, Jan Wong. And for those people of the viewers over there, if you please do comment or just personal message Jan Wong and say it's like, thank you so much. I watched this video and I've learned this. All right. And with that, take care, everybody, and stay safe.
Take care, everybody. Thanks, Jan.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode. We are here to inspire, so we really appreciate your support. Do share this to those people who you know can benefit from this podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe all of our channels: Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Take care and see you all soon.